for something that is being transmitted through the entire rank. Agree? Now look here, I wonder whether you would like to read a paragraph for me. That fair? Lucky enough, I happen to have it with me. Just by accident, I happen to have a paragraph with me. I'm now going to see whether I can now take you through the 148th proposition in Proclus. Now he's got 211 of them. Formidable. So we're jumping more than the middle. Now on page 2 in bold type, you'll see number 148. Please take a look at it. Could you pass one over, please? Good, good, good. All right. Let's read together. 148. That's the second page, bold print. I wonder whether you'll agree with the first statement. Every divine order has a unifying potency of a threefold origin, with its highest term, its mean, and the last term. Is that what we're saying? Why, look here. What does he say about the highest term? What does he say about the highest? The highest term, right? What does it have? A unifying potency. It has a unifying potency. What does it do with that unifying potency? It communicates it to the entire order. Is that right? To the whole. What does that do as a consequence? It unifies the whole, doesn't it? While itself remaining independent of it. Is that correct? Hey, the mean term. Take a look at the mean term. Socrates, the mean term. It reaches out to both extremes. See it? Reaching out to both extremes. Linking itself together, right? You see it linking itself together, right? With itself as a mediator. What does it do? It transmits the bestowals that it has received on, does it not? Wait a minute. If it's able to transmit the bestowals that it itself has received, the consequence of that is quite interesting. What should it be able to do? What should it be able to do? It implants in all a common character, doesn't it? And it has a mutual nexus and connection, doesn't it? Wow. Huh. Well, in this way, I guess you'd say receivers and givers constitute a single complete whole, an order, doesn't it? Is that right? By gosh, it does, doesn't it? Is that what we said? Oh, because of what reason? How is it functioning? For or because? Because?
The two extremes are functioning separately because?
Yeah, next line. Because, for, he doesn't use the word for and because. Watch, you can follow the entire dialogue, see? That's right, because it converges on the mean term as if upon a center, right? It converges, would you agree? Converges upon it as if it were the center. Naturally enough, doesn't it? That's what it does. Hey, the last term, agathon, right? You know what it produces? It produces a likeness. Doesn't he become like Socrates? And a convergence. How does he do that? Not by reverting on the initial principles, is it? Is that what he does? Why, that's what?
Were you saying just a... Sorry. Just a moment ago. The mean terms function to create a center? Is that what you're saying?
Did I say the mean term functions as a center?
I'm sorry, the extremes function separately to create a center?
Converge.
To
Well,
converge.
the limiting term produces a likeness and a convergence. The limiting term, that's the third term. Right, right, right. That's right. Now we're going into the transference. Because that last term has to become like, doesn't it? It has to become like.
Okay.
And that means there must be a convergence to that middle terms.
Just the way you said it. So-
Yes. Yes, good, 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 good. And all we're doing is understanding this analogy, are we not? Yes.
How does diatema remain independent?
Well, look here. That's a very important point. Would you agree that even though she is the great teacher teaching Socrates, there is always more that the master knows than is ever passed to the student? And in that sense, she transcends the student.
She says that in Symposium.
Pardon me?
She says that in Symposium. She says, there is something I see that maybe even you can't see. I think that she says something like that.
Yeah, she says, I don't know whether Socrates will ever become an adept.
That's right.
Right? She doesn't know because he's still a student. That's right. And therefore she far transcends him in both breadth of knowledge and the ability to translate it into a teaching situation. That's right. Therefore she stands far above them. Another way of looking at it dramatically, you know, Plato always goes for the dramatic aspect of it as well. You see, there's, here, no. Getting a little sloppy here, so let's clean it up for a moment. And I'll do something else. You see, when you look at this, another way of looking at this is to say, notice the relationships that are necessarily implied by this analogy. You can make a study of the two teachers, the way Diotima relates to Socrates and the way Socrates relates to Diotima as teachers. You can see the way Diotima as a teacher relates to Socrates as a student and the way Socrates relates to Diotima as a student. We can see equally well, now that Socrates is a teacher, how he relates to Agathon and how Agathon relates to Socrates. Therefore, we can compare the way Socrates relates to Agathon with the way Diotima related to Socrates. We can compare them both, can't we, as ratios. You know what else we can see? We can see the way Agathon relates to Socrates, right? We can see, if we wanted to make a study and say, how was Socrates as a student in the earliest days as compared with Agathon when he started this game of philosophy? Well, that's this comparison. Therefore, we can make another comparison this way, can't we?
That's the light, isn't it?
That's the light. Yeah, that's the light. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2 is to 4. The second place to the fourth place. That's right. Right. Now notice, we can see this relationship backwards and forwards. We can see it this way, but there's no possible relationship this way.
No, not without the me.
And that's why she stands above. That relationship is never expressed in the dialogue, and that fits the property of analogy. For there is no relationship between A and C. And right, there's no relationship between A and C. Right, there's no A and C.
The divine word.
That's invalid. So therefore he preserves that intrinsic property dramatically in the dialogue by making sure that in the drama of the dialogue they never relate and they don't interrelate on any level. Right?
Well, Agathon had a student. Could we carry it on into Agathon had a student, wherever?
Well, that's, see, what's interesting, of course, about the dialogue is that we are Agathon. And it's our challenge to pass it on. And that's what Socrates, Plato through Socrates is doing. Right. So the next step is, we're here. This is us. We us. That's us. We us. New term, we us. Right?